My name is Kyle Ross. I took Dave Isaac's music production class when I attended Musicians Institute. I mean, mainly, he touched on pretty much everything. I mean, from an emphasis on pre-production, getting, everything figured out before you actually enter the studio, to when you're in the studio and incorporating a band, or if you're producing a solo act, depending on what kind of a situation you're dealing with. He gave us certain tools and certain ideas that we can take to the table, whatever the situation may come up. And also kind of terminology-wise, how to communicate to the artists that we're working with, to kind of figure out what kind of sound that they want or that we're trying to achieve. It was a music production class, but he also touched on things about mixing, actually a lot on mixing. And he kind of set up this analogy for me, the way to think of it as kind of like a room. I mean, defining the four walls of my room, using delays, using reverbs. The first time I had some experience with this analogy, so to speak, is I was in the middle of mixing a session that I'd been working on, and I brought it in to show to Dave, and I was asking him some advice or certain things that I should maybe do. It wasn't really working out the way that I had wanted it to, and loads up the session. First thing he asked me is, why did you throw a compressor on here? And I said, I've just, kind of been in the habit of, using a lot of compression. I've heard it's an effective tool, and used the wrong way, it can completely suck the life out of your mix. He made a comment to me saying, if you suck the dynamics out of it, it kind of becomes lifeless. Why would you want to, take that part out? And that, needless to say, after we explored some other avenues, the Haas effect, reverb, other ways to make the vocals sit nicely in the mix, it worked out for the better. And that was a real turning point for me regarding mixing, because I had always kind of just done it very textbook, like this is what you do to bring vocals up, more technical rather than emotional. And that's another thing with Dave too, is, when you're in the pre-production, you want to make sure that you have, a groove. Like, music is about more of an emotional aspect rather than the technical. And I think as engineers, we get lost in the technical aspect, rather than the emotional. I mean, there's a certain reason why there's certain songs that make you feel a certain way, and there's the opposite effect of that. And what Dave has taught me regarding that really speaks to it. I learned something from Dave every single time that I talk to him. When I think of MI, I usually think of Dave instantly. I mean, he was one of my favorite teachers, along with two others. And he never made me feel uncomfortable so that I wouldn't ask a question. And also, I feel like he went the extra mile to answer all of my questions. And I really admired Dave for that. To wrap it up, I would definitely take Dave's class again. To anyone that is willing to learn and wants to learn about this field, I think he is about the perfect person to teach it. I keep learning from the guy every single time I talk to him. And he's willing to teach me. That's the greatest part about it. So I will say, thank you again, Dave. Thank you for allowing me to work under you.